The Cobra had shown some shortcomings in that its air brake, shown here, was thought to be less than fully effective, and there were some concerns about its range. There's no doubt that, coming from a long line of light fighters, the Northrop plane was a superb aircraft. But with the economy of scale that General Dynamics would enjoy with their Air Force order, the Fighting Falcon scooped the pool for local and export markets as well. The F-17 was relegated to the pages of the history books. Just one more design that didn't quite make it. The final card that General Dynamics had played to gain its European orders was offering NATO countries a large share of the aircraft's production for their local industries in a complicated offset deal. This meant that much of the technology that had been developed at General Dynamics' Fort Worth plant found itself being used in Holland, Belgium and other European countries to produce identical aircraft thousands of miles apart. Further exploiting its advantage, General Dynamics proceeded with more sales outside the NATO bloc. Here the Iranian symbol is placed on an F-16, though due to the turmoil in that country it would, in the end, be delivered to Israel. Fighting Falcons were also developed into very successful ground attack aircraft, as well as dedicated fighters. Here, a pair of F-16s are shown in service with the Egyptian Air Force. This Danish twin-seat version demonstrates the agility of General Dynamics' high-tech solution to the lightweight fighter and attack requirement. Although the US and NATO air forces had found an answer to their problems, the US Navy had to live with different parameters. By now, the F-14 Tomcats had been in service for some time, and these superb aircraft were clearly doing their job well. But their high-cost technology was a cause of concern for the Navy. Another problem the Navy had to contend with was that the A-7 Corsair II attack aircraft were nearing the end of their service life. In its time, this design had been very successful. Developed from a dedicated fighter, the A-7 Corsair II had seen considerable action over Vietnam in a strike bomber role, with unflagging and unchallenged efficiency. But now, as the 1980s approached, and with many years of service on their wings, a replacement was needed. A third concern was that some F-4 Phantoms, many in service with the Marines, were still flying in roles where it would be uneconomic for Tomcats to replace. Confronted with these three influences, the Navy too needed an economical alternative. But there was no way it could consider the single-engine F-16, with its lightweight undercarriage, a suitable answer. As the Phantoms and A-7s aged and the cost of vast numbers of Tomcats became more daunting, the US Navy looked for another type of aircraft. McDonnell Douglas, who manufactured the F-4, were well aware of the Navy's needs and set out to look for an economic multi-role answer to the problems. For over 40 years, the McDonnell name had been catering for the Navy's needs. The Navy's first jet fighter, the Phantom I, built by the company, first flew during World War II. The Phantom I, which was McDonnell's first design to go into production, was considered a major achievement for its time. And clearly, the Navy were impressed with the company's ability to work within the demanding requirements of carriers, which are vastly different from Air Force requirements. A vastly updated version of the Phantom, combining the same shape with more powerful engines, was the Banshee. This aircraft, shown here flying in front of a Phantom I, was an unqualified success. The manufacturer's second production design really did hit the mark and confirmed their reputation. Its arrival was timely, because in the Korean conflict, it offered aircraft carrier commanders an extremely powerful ground attack weapon. Over 900 Banshees were produced at St. Louis and saw McDonnell well on its way to becoming a world leader in naval fighter design. McDonnell's next offering was a single-engined plane with a swept wing. Slightly underpowered at first, the design nevertheless went into successful mass production as a fighter and a reconnaissance aircraft. Its arrival brought with it the beginnings of naval use of guided missiles. The St. Louis Company's crowning achievement was the F-4 Phantom II. Over 5,000 were produced for both naval and Air Force requirements. The 25 years of attention to the unique problems of the Navy had paid off for McDonnell, who were now prosperous enough to acquire the giant, long-established Douglas Company. In the late 1970s, McDonnell Douglas turned its energies to serving the Navy's latest need. Mac Air had had some design and financial involvement in Northrop's F-17 project, and thought the Cobra's potential was so great that they set out to isolate and eliminate the few significant bugs in the package. Provided in two versions, fighter and attack, it could well fulfill the Navy's requirements. The company took the F-17's basic layout and with their vast naval experience modified the design. For Navy use, it had to provide folded wings to be accommodated in the limited space of a carrier. More range, more powerful engines, and a totally upgraded state-of-the-art cockpit, which would sit in a completely redesigned front section, would be incorporated in the new aircraft. There were thousands of modifications. New forward sections and wings were to be built at McDonnell's St. Louis plant, but the manufacturing of the bulk of the fuselage and fin were to be at Northrop's Hawthorne factory, on the jigs made to be used on the F-17 project had it gone ahead. Thus, two great aviation companies, interestingly enough both relative latecomers, neither in existence much before World War II, came together in a combined effort to produce the aircraft. Here, a pilot enters the Advanced Flight Simulator, which will give accurate indications of the aircraft's performance in a variety of situations, even before the design is fully manufactured. You can see the improvements in the displays added to the basic F-17 cockpit in what is only a matter of a few years. The navalized F-17, retitled the F-18 and given the name Hornet, steadily progressed in development, and the prototypes went into production. the latest materials were used to provide strength and lightness to increase the overall performance of the aircraft. Naval aviation requirements for planes that might be flying from an aircraft carrier anywhere in the world are very specific, and components for the new type were individually subjected to thorough testing.